Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on free and damped vibrations. Okay, so first let's get clear with what is this free vibration and then what is damped vibration. So when you have a pendulum, like say the one I'm drawn over here, and you displace the bob slightly from its mean position, let's say for an angle of about 4 to 6 degrees, less than 6 degrees to be precise, and you let the bob go. You just let it go from here. You let it go. So what happens is that it will execute a to and fro motion, or to and fro motion. Now this to and fro motion is described by this thing here, which we call as simple harmonic motion, or SHM. Now it comes in various forms. The first that we'll discuss is the free oscillation. And this free oscillation over here is very idealistic. Why I'm calling this idealistic? It's because when you're letting in case of free oscillations, when you're letting it go, the bob should execute to and fro motion through and throughout. It should not decrease in its amplitude, and there is no effect of air drag or air resistance in case of free oscillations. So the displacement, if you plot the displacement versus time graph for free oscillations, I'm taking the displacement as x, which will obviously be a function of time. So it will go somewhat like this. The amplitude on either side will not decrease by even a bit. It will stay constant, like you see here. So this is our ideal case, or our free oscillation. Now in real life, what happens is that we don't have free oscillations. What we have is damped oscillations. This is realistic. So why is this realistic? Because when in case of damped oscillation, when you're letting the bob go from a 6 degree angle over here, it will move to about, let's say, very close to 5.9 degree or 6 degrees over here, and then it will move to, let's say, 5.7 or 5.5 degrees on this side again, and then again to the right to, let's say, 5 degrees. So the angle will gradually decrease and the bob will ultimately reach its mean position, and this time is very short. So the bob quickly reaches the mean position, or you can say the amplitude of this oscillation decreases exponentially. So why I'm saying that it decreases exponentially? Because it happens somewhat like this. If you plot the graph, it will go somewhat like this. So if you see carefully here, the amplitude is the peak of the graph. Sorry. So you see these dotted lines, these are basically marking the flow of the maximum displacement, or the amplitude. So this decreases exponentially. So why does this happen like this? To know that, we have to solve both the equations, or for free as well as damped vibrations. Now the vibration is a very general term over here. In this case, for the pendulum, we are what we have are known as oscillations. So in case of free oscillations, I am doing it on the left, free oscillations. In case of damped oscillations, I'll do it on the right, damped oscillations. So for free oscillation, we know the equation of motion is basically the restoring force F rest this is restoring, let's write the whole thing, is proportional to the displacement x. So we write this f restoring as is equal to, sorry, some minus kx. The force is nothing but mx double dot. Here x dot means dx dt and x double dot means d2x dt2. So mx double dot equal to minus kx. So x double dot is equal to minus k by m minus k by m is x. So we call this k by m ratio as some omega naught square. So x double dot is equal to minus omega naught square x, where this omega naught is nothing but root under k by m. K here is our spring or force constant, you can say, and m is the mass of the bob or the point like material which we are considering here, and this omega naught that we derive here is our natural frequency of vibration, natural frequency of oscillation here. So this is our equation of motion that we have got. This is in terms of acceleration. So this x double dot is nothing but the restoring acceleration. So from here, the easiest way to solve this is take a trial solution of this sort. Don't take sine or cosine trial solutions, because the chances of making mistakes while doing this single and double derivative over here increase, because you may misplace the minus sign. So take an exponential trial solution like e to the power mt, let's say. So if you take a solution like this, then x dot becomes very simple. The m will come in front, ma e to the power mt, and x double dot, you differentiate this again, so again another m comes in front, so you have m squared e to the power a to the power mt. So you put you don't require x dot, so we put this and this in this equation. So you get a common m square plus omega naught square e to the power mt is equal to 0. So a is not 0, and e to the power mt also cannot be 0. So what you have got here is m square is equal to minus omega naught square, or you can say that m is equal to root under minus omega naught square. I is root under minus 1. This is our very famous imaginary variable. So you have plus minus root under I omega naught. So when m is plus minus root under I omega naught, so our x, which we had taken as the trial solution, is a to the power mt. So this becomes, when you substitute the m over here, a to the power so I'm taking a different constant over here. Let's say you take a b over here, because I already used up the m. So as m can be I omega naught or minus I omega naught, we to take the linear combination of, or the linear superposition of both these solutions. So I omega naught t plus c e to the power minus I omega naught t. So this is basically nothing but a sinusoidal solution. You can also write it I'm taking another constant, some d, I'm using cosine, I just like cosine, omega naught t minus some initial phase phi naught, let's say. So this is our pretty common, many of us already know this solution for free oscillation. This is the solution for free oscillation. The graph goes like this. There is no change in the amplitude, and I'm sorry, this form is a sinusoidal form. For this, the graph will start from here. Okay. So now let's come to damped oscillation. I guess I used up the right space, so I have to start in the bottom. So coming to damped oscillations, this is the real case scenario. So what is the change over here? We have mx double dot plus we have this kx over here, but you have another extra term, that is the bx dot. This is the damping term. This is the damping term or the damping force, because we have kept our masses over here, so it's still a force, not an acceleration. So damping force, actually the damping force, like how the restoring force was proportional to the displacement, the damping force is proportional to the velocity or x dot. So Ft can be written as bx dot. So this becomes 0, sorry. So when you solve this, you move out the m, so you take some 2 gamma as b by m. I'm telling you why I take this, why I'm taking this as 2 gamma. K by m is omega naught square, pretty familiar from early on. So here b by m is equal to 2 gamma. Soon you will know why I'm taking this 2 gamma. You can take this as any constant, alpha, beta, gamma, 1 gamma, 2 gamma, 3 gamma, anything. So when you solve this equation, it becomes you take again the trial solution as simple as x equal to a to the power mt. I told you why the exponential solution. So the x dot again becomes ma to the power mt, and x double dot becomes m squared a to the power mt. So when you put it, put all of these are required in this equation, into this equation, we get a, that's common, m squared plus 2 gamma m plus omega naught square e to the power mt is equal to 0. See, to understand how I'm solving this easily, you need to work it out with your own, take a pen and paper and try working this out. Otherwise you may face some difficulties understanding these substitutions. So next, we know a cannot be 0. So that's the same story again. E to the power mt again cannot be 0. So your m square plus 2 gamma n plus omega naught square is 0. This is a constant, this 2 gamma is a constant, and we have a constant 1 over here. So Sridhar-Acharya formula, the quadratic formula we have to solve for m, that is minus b here is 2 gamma, so minus 2 gamma plus minus, the plus minus is not looking proper, so plus minus root under b square, that is 2 gamma square, that is 4 gamma square, minus 4, a is 1 over here, 4 1, and c is omega naught square over here, 4ac whole divided by 2. So now you know why I took 2 gamma over here. So I'm writing as minus gamma plus minus, you take the 2 inside the root over here, so you have root under the, when the 2 goes inside this root, it becomes whole divided by 4. So it gets pretty simple. You take it like this, and you take this portion, let's say some omega prime, where your omega prime is omega prime squared is nothing but gamma square minus omega naught square. We have a side note over here. So when you get your m, you are halfway through the solution. You just have to put your m back into your trial solution. The trial solution was e to the power mt, so of this form. So now what you have is a e to the power minus gamma t. This portion is a constant, so you can just put e to the power minus gamma t over here, plus minus root under gamma square. Let's not write the root under here, just put our new omega prime t. Now what happens is that this gamma is actually less than this omega naught. In most cases what we have is gamma is less than omega naught. So actually gamma square is less than omega naught square. So this portion is the root over a negative number. So what happens is that so instead of taking omega prime dash square as gamma square minus omega naught square, we take this as minus of gamma square minus omega naught square. So m is nothing but minus gamma plus minus I omega prime t. This we have already seen in case of when we were solving the free oscillation equation. So as it is root under minus omega prime square, so it becomes minus I omega prime. So you have plus minus I omega prime t over here. So when you have this sort of a solution, you know what to do. Take a different constant. Let's say again, let's take a b over here, shall we? Say a b, and you have the exponential decreasing factor e to the minus gamma t, and you have again the linear superposition c to the power I omega prime t plus d to the power minus I omega prime t. So this becomes our solution. Let's take this form as k e to the minus gamma t, and this is nothing but an oscillatory solution again. So cosine of omega prime t minus some phi double prime. This is your next initial phase. Okay, so why how to realize this solution on a graph? This is how you will realize. You have your x of t over here. So this is what actually happened, right? So you see it is still an oscillatory solution, but due to this exponentially decreasing factor, the amplitude decreased exponentially and it ceased to 0, and this factor makes this decrease of amplitude very fast. So when we will solve in our next video the forced oscillation, we'll see that this is again a part of that solution as well. This is just a part of that solution, this particular part. And we call this as a complementary solution and complementary function, and this ceases to 0 pretty soon, because the damping portion gives a really good effect on the on your oscillation. And this, let's say you call this T naught, this T naught is very small. So in the next video we'll study about forced oscillations. And what are the extra terms and extra factors, and how it affects our equation of motion, and how to solve the two-part solution of the particular integral and the complementary function. I'll tell you all about what is a particular integral and what is a complementary function. We have already solved the complementary function part. This is nothing but the solution to this damped oscillation equation. So this is already done. This solution will reappear, and we will try solving this new part, that is the particular integral. And for this we will take a trial solution of a to the power imt, something different, something else. So we'll come back to the forced oscillation in our next video. So this is my first video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will try to improve on my vocabulary and the way I'm delivering these videos. And also the handwriting needs improvement, so I need a lot of support from you guys. So thank you.